Hello, I'm Chuck Young. Welcome to Eternity Now. Today, we're going to talk about Christian education. You know, one of the biggest blessings that I've had was a couple of years ago. I took a tour of an elementary school in Madison. It was Madison campus, Seventh-day Adventist elementary school. During that tour, I was so impressed with the elements that they used at that school, the people that were working there. It was such a wonderful Christian atmosphere to know that children are being raised in that. Today, we've got a very special guest. We have the former principal at Madison campus, Seventh-day Adventist Elementary School, Art Chaney. Art, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you, Chuck, for this opportunity. I have spent 38 years in teaching and administration, and started out with high school, academy level they called it, and from there I moved into elementary. When they recruited me for the elementary school, they said, you'll be teaching all 8 grades at the same time in one classroom. And I thought, wow, how is that possible?
Really?
So when I asked the superintendent, how in the world do you do this? He said, you'll know after the first year. You'll know the answer to that question. And I did. And it worked out. I moved to different positions, sometimes teaching grades 5 through 8, sometimes 1 through 4, 3 and 4, and different combinations of this one-room school type, like they used to have in the good old days of Little House on the Prairie. And enjoyed it very much. And eventually got the opportunity to teach 1 grade. Thought I'd died and gone to heaven. 5th grade at Madison Campus Elementary. And that's kind of leading up to where we're going this evening, I guess, in our questions.
Now, what is it that led you to a Seventh-day Adventist Christian education?
Well, actually, I'm a product of Adventist education. I attended public for the first 6 years of my life. And then my parents transferred me to a church school about 20 miles away. And I learned to like the Adventist school system because of the kindness of the teachers, and they seem to be so caring. And another thing that was a defining moment for me was I was in academy or high school, and my first time away from home, I was lonely, I wasn't making good choices, and a teacher came up to me and he said, Art, if you ever need anything, give me a call. And I said, wow. I couldn't believe that a teacher would be that concerned for me to talk to me like that. And at that moment I said, I want to be a teacher like that man. And from then on, it just unfolded that direction. I took education, secondary ed, and art, and I began to prepare for that career.
That was a really defining moment for you when that teacher stepped up in such a personal way to offer you, some help whenever you needed it.
Now, he may have said that to many other students, but to me it was, water and dry ground. It was something I needed very badly.
Now, you said your first 6 years you were going to a public school. Mm-hmm. At first, when you went from a public school to a Christian format like that, did that create a problem for you? No, it didn't. The teachers were so accommodating and nice, and it was a smaller school situation. The public school I lived across the street from probably had 800 students, and I went to a school that had close to 30 students. So it was like a family, and I became part of that school family. Now, what is it that brought you to Madison Campus Elementary School in the first place? Well, good question. I had met a teacher in Hawaii while I was there visiting, who was a good friend of my sister's, and met her just in passing and then forgot about her until my daughter said, Dad, they lived in Tennessee, would you please move to Tennessee to be closer to us? I said, well, I have 2 things to do. I have a house to sell and I have to find a job. And so I sent out resumes. I said, I will try. I sent out resumes. And this teacher that I had met had now become an associate superintendent. And she picked up my resume and contacted me. There's a long story, but that makes a short story out of it. So I'm here in Tennessee. So from Hawaii to Madison Campus Elementary School.
Well, actually, I came from Massachusetts through via Hawaii.
That's a big step. Tell us a little bit about the history of that school over there, if you know that.
Well, MCE is a very old school. Actually, it started in 1906, and it was the result of some professors, some men coming from Michigan wanting to start a school in the South for the people here. And they looked at this piece of land and were very impressed. Began negotiations to see what they could do to purchase this property. And they finally were able to complete that contract. And that school is called Madison Campus Elementary today. It's gone through a number of changes from the old stone building, I think in 1934, until 2003 when we added 22,000 square feet to the building to make it what it is today.
Now, who does this school serve, and what are the grade levels over there? Is it like a standard elementary school at Madison Campus?
Yes, of course, public schools today talk about middle school, elementary school. We are a K through 8, and we serve the greater Nashville area, but probably primarily northern Nashville, Madison, Gallatin, Hendersonville, Hermitage area. We also serve 3 counties. We have students from Robertson County, help me with this one,
Sumner County?
Sumner County and Davidson County. Thank you.
Well, one question I'd have, because when I was in school, the grades were divided 1 through 6, and then we had junior high school 7 through 9th. And you said you guys have 1 through 8th, and there's a pretty big jump in I don't know, aging, in my opinion, between a 6th grader and a 7th grader. How is that working over there? Does that work pretty well, I mean, in your personal opinion?
Mm-hmm. It seems to. The older students tend to help the younger students. Although with this individual classes, it's not quite as much as it was in a multi-grade school, but there is some crossover and help.
Now, what is the current enrollment over there, and like the average classroom size?
Now, this is going to sound small to many people who are used to public school numbers, but we are a large Adventist Christian school with 173. Many of our schools are 20 students, 30 students, some as low as a dozen. So it's one of the larger Adventist Christian schools.
And so what's the average classroom size?
That ranges averaging probably around 20, but it can be as low as 12 or as high as 25.
So those kids are getting a lot of attention from the teacher then?
Yes.
That's great. That's a problem in some of these bigger schools nowadays.
Yes, their ratio is probably 20 to 1, 19 to 1 average.
That's a lot better ratio than what I had.
Yes, I would imagine.
I remember it seemed like probably the average growing up was about 30 or 40 students at least, per teacher. And in some bigger classrooms, it was a lot more than that. Now, is this school only for Seventh-day Adventist children, or can other children also attend?
No, we have what's called a non-discrimination policy. And so we allow children of all faiths, nationalities are all welcome in our school. So we do not discriminate.
Now, on average, how do the test scores at Madison campus, compare with the public sector and, even other Christian schools?
Well, when we compare with the public sector, we score between 3 and 6% above the public sector. And it should be a lot better than that. I mean, it should sound a lot better than that, except that they're able to screen out students that have all kinds of learning disabilities, and so that makes the figures a little lower for us because we don't screen students for that. We try to accept almost every student that wants to come to our school.
Isn't that wonderful? Now, is there a tuition cost to attend Madison Campus Elementary?
There is a tuition cost. We are a tuition-based school. And the tuition varies depending on criteria and where they live. So yes, and we are actually a very low tuition compared to our competitor schools.
Really?
Probably two-thirds less.
Is there any kind of assistance that's offered at times if people would like their children to go there, but you know, they might not be able to afford that?
Right. We have 3 programs, actually. If the children are members of the church, then the church gives them what's called worthy student funding that helps out. If you're non-church members, then they have something called Partnering for Eternity. This is a wonderful program that's community-based and helping elderly people and handicapped people in the community. It sends the children out to visit them for an hour a week. They write a small report, and then they get $25 for that report if it's turned in a timely manner.
Wow, that's a wonderful way for the kids to get used to dealing with people in a real-life way and to be a very, you know, helpful in the process.
Absolutely. They can earn $100 a month on their tuition to credit against their tuition.
Now, what about scholarships? Is there a way for students to get scholarships
We do.
Even an elementary school like that?
We do have some limited scholarships, and in order to receive those, a child would have to make application and have recommendations from teachers and parents, people who know them well.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, you've talked about so many different things that I think would make this school unique, but is there anything else that you'd like to share, you know, the uniqueness of Madison Campus Seventh-day Adventist School?
One of the unique things about our school is we have so many layers of supervision. We have what's called the North American Division, the Southern Union, the Kentucky-Tennessee Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. These are all our governing boards. We have the local school board. We have the parents. We are also accredited by SACS, Southern Association of Colleges and Schools. We're accredited by the National Association of Private Schools, and also by the North American Division of Seventh-day Adventists. So we have many eyes looking over our shoulders, so to speak, to see that things are being done appropriately and carefully in our school as far as delivery of education.
That's wonderful. That is a unique feature too, to be so well overlooked, and it just overlooked in a good way. And,
right. Another thing is the parent involvement. We have so many parents that want to be there with their children. They're in there daily, volunteering, helping, and doing what they can do to make that school a success.
That's wonderful. Now I'm going to talk about something that all of those students are always going to be interested in, and that's lunch.
Oh, their favorite subject of the day.
That's right. What about those hot lunches over there?
Yes, we have a hot lunch program every day, and it's optional, of course. They can choose to buy, but the uniqueness of that is it's a vegetarian hot lunch program. And so it's very good. The meals are balanced and a lot of variety in our meals, and the kids do well with it.
On average, do most people take advantage of the lunch that they serve, or do they bring their lunch?
I would say about 1/3. And a number of the staff take part in the hot lunch program because they're on the run, don't want to make a lunch in the morning, so they're pretty well there for lunch.
I'm getting hungry just thinking about that.
Yes.
Is there a school care provided before and after for the students when the parents drop them off or pick them up?
We do. We have actually a free before school program. And that's for those parents that work at long distance and have to be to work early in the morning in Nashville or Murfreesboro. After school, we have an aftercare program, and they provide a snack. The children seem to enjoy that. There's a modest fee for that, which would be expected. And that runs until 6 in the evening, Monday through Thursday. On Friday, we shorten our day, and it ends at 4 o'clock, the aftercare.
What are the hours at school on average?
School starts at 7:45 in the morning and runs till 2:45 in the afternoon, Monday through Thursday. On Friday, Adventists have been traditionally in the mode of getting ready for Sabbath early. So we close 1 hour earlier. We get out at 1:45 on Friday.
And you talk about getting ready for Sabbath earlier. For some of our listeners, Seventh-day Adventists keep the 7-day Sabbath, and that begins at sundown on Friday and extends through sundown on Saturday, which is the evening and the morning or the 7th day, just like the Bible and the commandment says.
So. Yes.
Now, do you guys have a bus pickup and delivery system over there for students who need a ride to school?
Unfortunately, no for families, but fortunately for us, no.
Okay.
Because of the high cost of bus and liability.
Yes.
We haven't chosen to do that. It's on the discussion table. It could happen someday.
Now, for the students that are having a little trouble, which would have been me, I'm sure, if I was going there.
Oh, Chuck, I don't think so.
Is there tutoring available?
Yes, we do have tutoring. Many of the teachers will stay by in the evenings to help the students in special areas. We also have National Honor Society students that come over from our academy next door, our sister school, and they volunteer their time after school to help students who are in need. And then we have hired tutors for special needs that come in for that.
That's great. You know, I mentioned earlier that I had done the tour of Madison campus Seventh-day Adventist Elementary School just a couple of years ago, and just the experience that it was and the blessing that it was, it made me really wish that I had been able to go to a Seventh-day Adventist school like that. Mm-hmm. And having known a lot of people like yourself that were raised Adventists and had a Seventh-day Adventist education, you know, I've really grown to respect what is taught in those schools. And I actually felt like I had missed out on something by not going to that school in particular, because it was such a blessing to go through there. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that you'd like to share about the school, just in summary, that you'd like to just share with us?
I guess along with the religious instruction, I've been impressed with our schools being patriotic. You know, we have the flag salute every morning. We have a group that takes the flag out and raises the flag. And I love my country as well as my church, and I just feel that so warmed by the fact that we can do that in our country. We have the freedom to express ourselves for our country and our God. And some of the classrooms, they have a salute for the flag and a salute for the Christian flag, and they go together. Our school is unique in that we have added this year a full-time music program, full-time music teacher, last year a full-time PE teacher, and we're growing in enrollment, so we're growing in staffing, and we think we have a really great program. We have sports this year. We added track and field. We also have an intramural program for all the students. We have a basketball, interscholastics, soccer. We have a gymnastics program. So for the active student, we have a lot going. Full-time music and PE. For the music classes and for the PE classes, now is that mandatory? Is that a part of everyone's education there, or do they get to choose and pick what they're interested in? Now in the sports programs, they can choose. PE is required in our system. We also offer recess, which is unusual in today's school world. There is music. One classroom music is required, and then the others are up to the student to choose.
That's really great that they get to have those options in there. During the normal course of the PE class, being somebody who's kind of interested in physical education anyhow, what are some of the things that they do in just your average PE class?
They do calisthenics. I see them running laps in the gym. Health is a part of it too. We wear pedometers on occasions. Even the teachers are challenged to do that. And the students, to keep track of their miles or steps per day, 10,000 steps per day is what is requested of them. So health is a big part of our educational system. 10,000
steps a day, that sounds like a good idea for everybody to try.
Absolutely.
That sometime.
Stay fit, keep fit.
Well, you know, Art, it's been such a blessing to have you come on Eternity Now and just share your experience as the former principal over at Madison Campus Elementary. How long were you principal there?
I was principal for 5 years. I had taught 5th grade for 3 years, and then an opening came up for principal, and my superintendent leaned on me, suggested I take a good, strong look at it. I did, and spent some time thinking and praying on it, and decided to pick up the challenge.
Well, I can say this, after getting to know you as a friend, and actually you were there the day I took the tour at that school, I'm sure that when you left, that both the students and the faculty there really missed you.
That may be true. We do have a new principal, and he is gung-ho, excited, doing a wonderful job. He's young, as opposed to me, got lots of energy. Probably do better running laps and playing football than I would. So we're excited for what he's doing, the changes he's making, and he's going to be a strong supporter. Michael Schaffner is our new principal.
Well,
and we have a school website we'd like you to check out on the web, Madison Campus Elementary, and you can look us up there.
Is that the best way to get contact information?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Art, thank you so much for being here today on Eternity Now, and maybe you can come back again sometime and we'll talk about something else.
Would love to do that. Thank you for the opportunity. God bless you.
Thank you so much for being here on our show. God bless you.
Welcome to Prophecy Insight. Glad you're here, that you could join us today. And my name is Keith Noel. I'd like to share with you just a spiritual thought here. Here in Revelation chapter 12, verse 17, the devil is really angry. He's angry at those that are keeping the commandments of God. Notice what it says here in Revelation 12, verse 17. And the dragon was enraged with the woman. Now the dragon is the devil. It tells us in verse 9. The woman, God, Christ, is the bridegroom, and we are his bride. The dragon was enraged with the woman, God's body of believers, and he went to make war with the rest of her offspring who keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. In an earlier segment, we had talked about how some believe that God's 10 commandments was done away with. We had asked the question if sin was still in the world. And of course it is. The Bible tells us in 1 John chapter 3, verse 4, that sin is the transgression of the law. And so make no mistake about it. We are saved by grace through faith in Jesus Christ. But Jesus didn't die on that cross to give us a license to do whatever we want to do. I obeyed not to be saved, but because I am saved by the precious blood of Christ. How long will this law continue? We read in a segment before that this law would continue until heaven and earth pass away. That's in Matthew chapter 5, verse 18. We still have heaven above our heads, and we still have an earth beneath our feet. But which one of the commandments would you like to do away with today? The first one that says, "Thou shalt have no other gods before thee"? Wouldn't you like to keep that one? How about the one that says we shouldn't bow down and worship images? Should we do away with that? Should we do away with the one that says that we ought to take God's name in vain? Which one should we do away with? Thou shalt not kill, steal. My friends, they all make sense, but the only one that anybody has any problem with is the fourth commandment. And God says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Talking about a specific day. And so God wants us to remember the Sabbath day. And you say, oh, that old Jewish law. My friends, it's not Jewish. Long, thousands of years before there ever was a Jew, there was God's holy Sabbath. And you can find it in Genesis chapter 2, verses 1 through 3. And it was created by Jesus Christ himself. He's the one that created this world. That's what it tells us in Colossians chapter 1, verse 16. That's what it tells us in the Gospel of John. John verses 1 through 3 and verse 14. The Word, everything was created by the Word. The Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. And when I look at this Sabbath day, it helps me and reminds me that God has the power to help me out in anything in life. If He can create a world, friend, He can help you out with any problem that you have. And the biggest problem that I have and that you have is salvation. is going to heaven, and thank God Jesus died on the cross for the forgiveness of sins. But not only that, He wants to set me free from every addiction. That's what the Sabbath reminds me of, that He has the power to deliver me, this one that created the world. And the Sabbath was kept all the way through the Old Testament. It was kept by Jesus Himself. It says in Luke 4, verse 16, talking about Jesus, so He came to Nazareth, where He had been brought up, and as His custom was, He went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up to read. My friends, if Jesus is our perfect example, then we need to follow Him in everything. Paul kept the Sabbath. It says in Acts 17 verse 2, then Paul, as his custom was, went into them for 3 Sabbaths, reasoned with them from the Scriptures. And in Acts 18 verse 4, it says, and he reasoned in the synagogue every Sabbath, and persuaded both the Jews and Greeks. Doesn't matter whether it's Jews or Greeks. And we're going to be keeping that Sabbath in heaven. It tells us in Isaiah 66 verse 22 to 23 that from one new moon to another that we will come together and worship before the Lord on His holy Sabbath day. There's no scripture that has ever showed that Christ, His disciples, have ever changed the Sabbath. Friends, this has been another Prophecy Insight. May God bless you, and may God keep you. Why is there so much extreme weather? Why is so much violence sweeping America? Why is there so much trouble in the Middle East? Is our world spinning out of control? Friends, you can find peace, security, and hope in the book of Revelation. You are invited to attend Revealing Revelation's Hope Bible Prophecy Seminar located at West End Middle School Auditorium at 3529 West End Avenue right here in Nashville.